Or you decide to apply for that new role, you need to identify if it's a right company culture fit. And you might be looking at this and trying to figure out, is this the right place for me? Before you decide, watch this video where I'm going to share with you three things that could be considered red flags, but just things that you want to get clear on before you decide that this is your dream company. All right. And then as you go through this process of identifying where companies are actually, a green flag versus a red flag, you're going to do some of your research, of course, on their website. But another great place to do this is on LinkedIn. If you are an oldie but goodie, you already know I'm going to slide in LinkedIn to these videos as being coined as the LinkedIn queen. But ultimately, what I do is help people really master their professional presence and be able to move into the career of their dreams. So we'll get into my intro in a moment, but I did want to let you know, if you stay to the end of this video and you decide you want to leverage these strategies to get on LinkedIn and start researching these companies, you want to make sure that as you're doing that, your profile is optimized. And if people want to check you out, or you want to start making connections, you want people to look at your profile and actually see that you are who you say you are. They want to understand what strengths and capabilities that you have to know that this is going to be a fruitful connection. So want to make sure that you have your profile optimized. At the bare minimum, I suggest anyone do that, even if you aren't active on LinkedIn every day. And if you're like, okay, that sounds good, but how do I even do that? Stay to the end of this video. I will gift you with a free checklist and video training that'll help walk you through this process. All right, so let me do my introduction, because there are probably some new people here. You saw this video and you're like, yes, I want to learn more about this, but who is this girl? I need to know a little bit more about her and her experience. So my name is Kirsten Allen, and again, I am your career fulfillment coach, at least for this video, and I help working moms specifically be able to get into six-figure careers and really become the CEO of their career. What does that mean? That means that they take the bull by the horns and decide what's the best move for them career-wise and build their own corporate ladders. We shatter corporate ceilings, we go against the grain, and we do what needs to be done to deliver a massive amount of impact in our career, but also have space for other parts of our lives, such as our families and our children. So if you are into that, you are in the right place. Now, these series of videos are called Power Plays, where I just give short, quick information that you can quickly implement into your LinkedIn, into your career journey to be able to get massive results. So this isn't about just sitting back and watching. It's about taking this information and implementing it, and then reporting back and letting me know what your results were. All right, so let's get into the meat of today. As promised, we're going to be talking about some of the things that you want to look for in companies and get a little bit more insight before deciding if they're your dream company. So we are going to come in hot with this first one, because obviously I want to talk about what most of my clients come to me about, or what I hear most people talking about within my audience. And that is just the showcase of diversity in organization. So as speaking as a woman of color, most of my clients that I work with are women of color and are looking to get into these corporations and want to feel like they can be themselves and feel that they can show up in their full authenticity. So that's super, super important to me. And I like to talk about this, especially in company culture fit, because that's going to be one particular thing that you want to look at. So you want to be aware of companies that present themselves as diverse-ish, right? So I hope this doesn't step on any toes. And I hope this actually challenges companies to not only talk about their diversity efforts around holidays or when things happen in the world, but make sure that this is a top priority. I know there are several companies that do this, even not just to be, a post on LinkedIn, but they actually embody this in their companies with each of their employees and make their contributions feel valuable. But what I hear from folks who work in other organizations or just people on their career path is they really don't see it as much as they would like. So if you're a corporation and you're listening to this and you're responsible for diversity efforts, I hope that you take this video and understand that this is a representation of what a lot of people of color feel in organizations when they can't really see themselves, or they're in organizations and they don't feel heard, right? So when you're deciding that you want to move into a space or a company, you really want to identify if they are truly embracing diversity, not only from a checking the box standpoint, but do they make their employees feel valued on a day-to-day basis? So how can you really determine that? Obviously, you can do some research on the company on LinkedIn, as I mentioned in the beginning, and see what type of diversity efforts they have going on. A lot of times companies will also produce annual reports around their diversity to showcase, what they're doing, some of the metrics around their hiring and things of that nature. So you can be able to get some more big data facts to see, how they are, again, putting their diversity efforts behind true actions in the organization. And then more importantly, like I spoke about in a previous video, you can start to have conversations with people who work for these companies. Get on LinkedIn, first optimize your profile so people know, like, this is a legit person, but then start connecting with people and ask them, how do they feel about the diversity efforts at their company? Is it really something that is prioritized? Do they feel heard? Do they feel understood? Do they feel like they get access to opportunities, right, to be able to move up the ladder and things of that nature? That is a huge concern, especially for people of color. They feel like they get into these roles and, in some places, not all, this is not a blanket statement, but it is something that comes up more often than I would like to see. And that is getting into organizations and feeling stalled or feeling like you're not able to move in a particular space, and you're doing all the things and you're showing up and all of those things are great, but you're just not seeing diversity in these levels and you're not seeing opportunity provided to diverse communities. That's something that you definitely want to ask about, and especially in the interview process as well. Make sure that you get a clear understanding of where the company stands on diversity and the tactics attached to that, not just being box checkers, but what are the results around that. So make sure that you ask that question or do thorough research to understand that part. Now, the second one here is going to be, and again, this is not necessarily a red flag. It's just something that you, again, want to ask more questions about. So I've seen companies use this language a lot of startup culture, and it obviously can be a great thing because when you're in this type of environment, and I know this coming from working for different companies, that sometimes in established organizations, it's hard to make change. It's hard to present innovation because there's so many pieces of red tape. There's, so many webs. Think of a spider web that to get one thing done, it has to go through so many different layers, right? But in a startup situation, there is room to innovate. There is room to be able to bring ideas and all of those things. So there is a positive side to it. But then there could also be a side that may not be negative, but it just may not work for you. So this could mean, long hours or, taking on a role that may be for 2 or 3 people and it's given to one person. Now, again, why I say that there is a balance to this, because at some point in your life, maybe it's okay for you to wear all those hats and do all those things at work. If you don't have a family, if you, are single and things of that nature, you may want to throw in most of your hours into work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for people who are in my target audience and people who I serve as clients, most of us are looking for something that helps us identify helps us establish a good work-life blend. So something like that arrangement may not necessarily line up with where we are in this particular phase of our lives. And that's something that you have to draw the sand on for yourself. I know oftentimes we think that we're at the mercy of opportunities that come to us, but what we really have to do is really figure out what our boundaries are in terms of our career and things that we need personally, and pursue opportunities that align with that. Trust me, there are so many opportunities out there. Even if you're someone that's like, yeah, but I've been applying, I haven't been getting, any calls back. So I feel like I have to go with, what's the opportunity that's presented to me. You don't. You have opportunities, especially if you're someone who is aligned with me and in my community and watching these power play videos. You're already someone who's doing well. You have opportunities out there. So you need to align with what can work for you personally and trust that everything else is going to work out. All right. So startup culture, just ask more questions about it. What exactly does that mean? What does startup culture look like? Really detailing out and getting some answers around what does that entail? What does that mean for me as an employee, right? Because I need to really understand, is this innovation? Because I can do that. Or is this going to be that you need all hands on deck in every single area? And like I said, neither option is good or bad. It's just about what you can do in your stage of life. And again, I'm all about helping you find fulfillment and getting into a place that you'll actually enjoy. I don't want you to make a move and then end up in the same place you were, or worse off than you were before you decided to make a move. Okay. All right, so that's the startup culture piece. The next one is fast-paced environment. And I put this in quotations because, again, this is one of those, what does that truly mean? Obviously, we understand what fast-paced is, right? But again, what is the implication to the employee based on this fast-paced environment? So you want to ask deeper on this because here's a few ways that this can play out. Again, fast-paced can mean, not having the same set of duties every day. And some people thrive off of having a different day every single day, right? Some people are fine with showing up in ambiguity and they can move forward and do well with that. I like to say that I like to have a good balance so I can understand that lens of not wanting to do the same thing every day. Totally get it. Some people are like, no, I would prefer to have something where this is what I'm doing. I understand how I'm measured. Like every day is, pretty much the same. I can get things done. I feel good about being in that type of role in this phase of my life, right? Understandable. Again, none of these options are good or bad. It's just about figuring out what's best for you as the individual. So if fast-paced environment is about having, a different set of duties every single day or having a new project go on, or, you're working on this and then all of a sudden you got to shift here and this is kind of a regular occurrence, then it may not be a good fit for you if that's not something that's in alignment with you right now. So being, again, honest with yourself, asking the right questions. When you say fast-paced environment, what does that mean for the employees? What does that mean on this team? How can you give me an example of what a fast-paced environment looks like on a day-to-day basis? And that'll help you. So it could be that. It could be that, things get changed, things get implemented pretty quickly, right? So that means if you have new ideas, maybe, and it's something that actually is beneficial to the organization, that everyone can quickly get on board and go forward with their ideas. So if you're someone who's innovative and likes to bring new ideas and gets energized when you can actually bring a new process to the organization, then fast paced might be thumbs up for you. But asking the questions will help you be able to truly identify, again, is this a culture fit for you in your space? So you want to make sure that you ask these three things in the conversation. All right, so that is what I have for you today. Really simple. So as you're going and doing your research on LinkedIn or whatever platform you decide to use on their website, you want to make sure that you at least cover these three areas. Of course, there are more, but these are what I suggest for those who are in my community that will probably be most important for you to find alignment with before you decide this is your dream company. Now, as promised, you stayed to the end. And like I said, if you're going to use my trusty dusty friend LinkedIn to be able to do this research, you want to make sure that your profile is optimized as you are connecting with people and being more active over there. And you can do that very simply by downloading my LinkedIn checklist and video training to go along with it. It walks you through my 5-layer steps to optimizing your profile so that people can begin to understand what it is that you do and be able to easily connect with you, recruiters, hiring managers, or even potential folks that can provide referrals for you can understand more about who you are and you can expand your network. Now, if you want that checklist, again, which I don't know why you wouldn't get it, you just comment me below and I will send it over directly to you. You'll enter in your email and we'll send it right to your inbox. All right. I will see you on the next Power Play video. Definitely go and implement these strategies. Let me know how it works for you and we'll chat on LinkedIn. Talk to you soon.